So a big welcome to our RLI President-elect, Olayinka Babalola. It's a great honor to have you in our district, even virtually, and a special honor that you will be speaking to us today. I had the great pleasure actually to meet our President-elect in November 2022. When Christina actually told me you have to go and pick up someone from the airport to bring him to the institute in Limassol. So I went, and immediately I see this energy coming out of the airport. We had a lovely drive to Limassol, and it was from then I realized that I was speaking with someone that had a great experience and a great love for Rotary, and we were all proud to hear that he was elected president for the next year. So again, a great thank you for our president-elect for being here today with us. Also, I need to thank Christina Kobotso, past governor, who will be addressing shortly, as well as our institute chair, district institute chair Faisal, for organizing everything and for getting our president-elect here with us today. So without any more comments from me, again, welcome to all Rotarians. Welcome everyone. And the floor is back to you, dear Faisal.
Thank you very much for that, District Governor Peter. I forgot to, in my initial welcome, I forgot to mention our dear District Governor-elect May. So I'll just welcome her now before I move on. So now I would like to ask our Vice Governor, Christina, to say a few words, who is also the Learning Facilitator Chair of the district.
Thank you very much, Faisal. District Governor Peter, past District Governors, dear friends. I was not surprised to see that Yinka was selected as our president-elect. He's dedicated. He has Rotary running in his veins. And I literally, and particularly he likes selling his hats left, right, and center if you've seen him anywhere, but he raises funds for polio. I've had the honor, also past District Governor Nijad, to work under Yinka when he was director of Zone 22, which means that he was also director for Zone 21 as predecessor of Katerina Kotsali. And my memories of his year in leadership of the two zones are still very fond and very strong. And at that, I would like to thank him also for supporting our own institute in 2022 in Cyprus. It means that he has been to our district, but we have 9 countries in the district and we want him everywhere. And at that, I want to wish him a most successful presidency-elect period and a most successful presidency for which I have no doubt. Yinka, for those of you that don't have you in their hearts, they will have you in their hearts after the end of this meeting. Good luck.
Now, before we move on to the main program, I always have my etiquette, my session etiquette. So we'll go through that quickly because we want everyone to have a comfortable session. Let's see now if I can put this on full screen. I think we're on full screen now. So arrive on time, which everybody's done well. You know, when you ask a question, display your name. Oh, sorry. Yeah, if you can display your name, club, and country in the chat, as well, if you can do it in the display, in your profile display would be great. Mute yourself when someone else is talking. Raise your hand when you want to ask a question during the question and answer. For the first time you take the floor, state your first name and your club. While talking, keep your camera on. However, I do have to stress that this is being recorded. So if you're not comfortable being recorded, you can keep your camera off. There are no bad questions. Off topics will be parked. Take notes and be engaged. Mutual respect will promote creative thinking. And of course, be kind to everyone. So with that, I will open the floor to past President Farid to introduce our dear speaker.
Thank you, DG Faisal. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Rotarians. Rotary projects are the heartbeat of our organization. They are how we turn compassion into action and vision into measurable change. But to truly make a difference, our projects must be well-planned, community-focused, and sustainable. And it all begins with listening, conducting proper needs assessment to ensure we're addressing what communities actually need, not just what we think they need. A successful project involves clear goals, strong partnerships, and accountability at every stage. Funding is equally critical. While the Rotary Foundation offers excellent grant opportunities, in fact, impactful projects often combine club contributions, community fundraising, and strategic partnerships. It's not about how much we raise, it's about how wisely we invest every dollar for lasting results. As Paul Harris, Rotary's founder, once said, "Whatever Rotary may mean to us, to the world, it will be known by the results it achieves." For that, it is my honor to introduce Rotary International President-elect for 25-26, Olayinka Babalola, a proud member of the Rotary Club of Trans-Amadi River State, Nigeria. Mr. Babalola holds a degree in engineering and spent 25 years in the oil and gas sector, holding senior roles at Shell plc and leading projects across 4 continents. He is the founder of Riviera Technical Services, specializing in oil and gas infrastructure, and lead the Change Consulting, a firm focused on executive coaching and organizational performance. He is affiliated with the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, the Association of Change Management Professionals. He also contributes to community policy through the Jericho Businessmen Club in his hometown. He is a dedicated Rotarian since 1994 and a Rotar actor before that for 10 years. He served as the district governor in 2011-12 and on the Rotary International Board of Directors from 2018 to 2020, including the role of the vice president. His extensive Rotary service includes the End Polio Now Countdown to History Committee and the Nigeria National Polio Plus Committee, where he continued to serve as an advisor. Mr. Babalola and his wife, Preba, live in Port Harcourt. He is a generous supporter of the Rotary Foundation, a member of the Arc Clump Society, and a trustee of the Shelter Box UK. He has been honored with the Rotary International Service Above Self Award and the Regional Service Award for Polio Free Plus World and the Rotary Foundation Citation for Meritorious Service. Please join me in welcoming Rotary International President-elect Olayinka Babalola. Before we start, Mr. Yinka, President-elect Yinka, I would like also to mention that you visited our district several times and our club, the Rotary Club of Amman Citadel, also as well. So please, if you'd like to address the audience before we start the questions, that would be very nice of you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very, very much for the introduction. Yes, I looked at the participants on the call and I discovered that I recognize many people. You know, people have met over time. And like Christina said, yes, I know you have about 9 or 10 countries, but I know I've been to Jordan, I've been to Lebanon, I've been to Cyprus. You know, I will seek for opportunity to see the other places also. So you need not worry about that. So we'll see what happens. And you know, the convention for my year as president will be in Dubai, which is also in your district. So you see, a lot of things are coming your way. But just as an introductory statement, let me take your mind to something. Okay. Can I go on now? Yes. Let me take your mind to the beginning. And I hope it steers the conversation one way or the other. You know, if you look at the object of Rotary, it talks about service in all the 4 objects. You know, I don't have it on screen to be able to share with you, but let me just read out one. It says, the first one says, development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service. The second one says, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupations as an opportunity to serve society. Service has come up in that again. Then the third one talks about the application of the ideal of service in every Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. So service also in the third object. And then in the fourth object of Rotary, it says the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. So for the object of Rotary, service occurred in all the objects. Then let's take that to what we call our avenues of service. The reason I'm saying this is that I want to get our Rotarians to have a frame around what we're talking about. So if you look at the avenues of service, we have club service, we have community service, international service, we have youth service, and we have vocational service. So 5 avenues of service. But a lot of times when we think of service project, we think of community service usually. And I just wanted us to open up our mind to the fact that we actually have 5 avenues of service, and the conversations around today should be should also be expanded, let me use that word, or to encompass the other avenues of service, so that we don't come to the conclusion that whatever we discuss today about the best way to go about the things we will do, that it affects only community service projects. We should also think about it with respect to the other avenues of service and relate it to our object of Rotary. So I think those will be my opening remarks, and then we can go ahead to the questioning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a lot of questions. So what we will do is we will try to answer as much as we can with the time we have.
Yes.
So we start with the first one. Rotary has always stood for service above self, and our projects are at the heart of what we do. Why do you think service projects matter to Rotary, both locally and globally, President-elect Yinka?
You know, when Rotary started, the idea was to connect business people to connect. And after a while, people asked, what can we use this our connection for? And it was decided, let us use this connection for good. For good, but not just for the good of others, but also for the good of ourselves, which is another thing I want us to remember. When that first service project happened, it was a toilet. But you see, the toilet was built. The intention wasn't just to make people have access to be able to heal themselves. Part of it was also, let us keep people more in the business area so they can spend more time and spend more money. And so business, it will also be good for business. So there are 2 sides to all of it. So service projects gives us the opportunity to be able to impact our communities. And so that is very, very important. If Rotary must remain relevant, then our communities must feel us, you know, that we're there, whether that is locally or internationally. And I tied that very quickly to our vision statement. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. So you can see why it is important. You know, it's not just about service internationally, which is across the globe. It's not just about service locally in our communities, but also in a way, you know, that it makes lasting change in us.
Thank you so much. Behind every successful project lies careful planning, strong leadership, and community involvement, of course. What do you think are the key components that lead to the success of a service project, President-elect Yinka?
I think the first thing is to understand what the people need, not what we think they need. So we need to have an assessment. We need to talk with the proposed beneficiaries of this action we want to take. You know, we need to make sure that whatever we are doing is addressing a need, you know, in the community as it is. So one critical component of service project is that element of community dialogue, you know, community assessment, as we call it, to identify what is required. Another part of that will be important is what we are bringing or we intend to deliver suitable for the environment? Does it fit into the lifestyle of the people? Otherwise, we'll go put something there, spend a lot of money, and people will not use it, even though it is intended to serve a particular need. So I think those are some of the two critical ones. That one, it will serve a need. It is something they want, not what we think they should have. Second is that if you give it to them, you know, it will fit it well into the environment. And third, of course, is that it is sustainable. The community is able to manage it when we leave the place, you know, and that the technology that we are going to be using, the available technology, is adaptable to the environment where the service project will be. I think those four key things will be very, very important. There's no need putting a solution that they cannot find resources, should I say, to maintain. You know, it will simply mean it will go bad and nothing will happen.
Thank you so much. I have a very nice question for you now, which is, it's about the real change that we bring to the lives of and communities. How do you think we can measure the success of a service project and its impact on the communities?
And all the questions have been very nice. So, and this is a nice one, and I will try to answer it. You see, we talked about impact, and that is something many of our clubs are not used to thinking about. Most times we think of, we go do something, we have some input into it. When we do something, we get some output out of it. And many of our clubs think that output is what matters. So we are saying, we go there, this community has no water, so we go there, we sink a water well, and we've sunk the water well and there's water. So that's an output, so it is fine. But that is not enough. There's also an outcome of that. There's now water in the place, and there's so what? What does having water in the place mean? Of what value is it? That's why we talk about impact. It is true that impact is not something that is immediate. Impact sometimes comes much, much later. Let me use that word. Allow me to use two examples that I know of to buttress what I'm saying. A federal minister in my country, Nigeria, met me at an airport. He was the federal minister of health. And he met me and he said, Yinka, please say thank you to Rotary, your Rotary members, for the water they provide in the communities. And I simply looked at him and said, okay, but it's not the Minister of Water Resources. It's not the Minister of Infrastructure. So why is he thanking me for that? And then he said, because everywhere Rotary has put a well, infant mortality and morbidity has reduced because children stop dying of malaria, of a diarrhea and other diseases that are waterborne. So impact means before we did this project, this number of children were dying under 5. But now that we've done this number has reduced. That is impact, and that is measurable. And a way to do that is to have a benchmark as at the time that we start. And to do that, we must think in advance of creating the project, what is the impact we desire? And when we know that, we can then take a benchmark. A second story, my own club provided sanitation, toilets, and water, about 10 units in a large community. We were happy that we've done that, but then there were consequences when we were launching the phase 2 and adding it over to the community. The community leader said something even I didn't think about. He said, Yinka, you know, he said, Rotary, you people know, with these toilets you've built for us, the grades in the final exams of our children has improved. So I'm wondering, okay, what has toilet got to do with higher grades in school? But the point is, for each of those toilets, we had provided solar-powered pumps and used that opportunity to provide lighting around the toilets for security reasons. But then children then go out at night because there's no electricity in the homes. They then go out at night to where you have those lightings to study. You see, it was even an unintended impact, but those are the kind of things we mean. And it's usually impact is measurable. You know, the number of children who used to pass in the exams has increased by X%. The number of children who used to die of diseases has reduced by X% and things like that. But let me say this to close this. I don't know what questions are coming next. There's an impact I want to call Rotarians' attention to. You see, every time we go out to change people's lives, our own lives get changed. And that is when we talk about lasting change in ourselves. You know, so when we go out and we do the things that we do, we think in our mind that we are creating impact in our communities around the world. But what impact is that having on us as Rotarians? That is one thing Rotarians don't think a lot about. And I want to encourage everybody listening to me today to say, think about it. How has Rotary impacted you? How has Rotary helped you? Your membership of your Rotary Club, how has it helped you to make a lasting change in yourself? Because that's a lasting impact. Yes, you went out doing service project, but what did that mean for you? Because when we understand that, then Rotary becomes easy to market and our stories become more compelling and more believable. So when we think of impact, don't just think of the impact of the things we do on the beneficiaries, but how has that impacted us as Rotarians?
Thank you so much. Yes, I agree. And I see so many clapping and hearts going around because we really love your answers and your description about the impact. Before the start of the year, everyone is so enthusiastic and starts putting plans. And many clubs have great ideas, but often they face challenges in execution. What do you think are the obstacles and issues that prevent us from moving beyond the planning phase?
First, I think, to my experience, is the issue of continuity and the issue of collaboration. You see, planning sometimes may go beyond somebody's term of office. So you want to do a project that will have impact. It may mean by the time you start the community assessment, the community dialogue, putting the funding together, finding sponsors, looking for cooperating partners, and all the rest like that. It may also mean that by the time you are done with all of that, there's already a change in regime. You know, since for Rotary, it's just 1 year. What I see a lot of times is that a new set of officers come in and they put a new set of people in charge of things just because they think this is now a new administration. I think for many of the things that we have that go long term, we have to plan continuity into it. You know, so perhaps as we have the service project in progress, We may want to keep the key persons involved until the project is finished, for example, or find a way of making sure that we are not starting afresh. Because sometimes what happens is you have a change in the leadership and you have a new set of people and they don't understand the basic conversations that have gone into the planning, and then they need to start afresh. Or if they can't start afresh, they don't fully understand what the intent and the deliverables are. I think continuity will be a key solution to getting frozen when the new year starts.
Thank you. You mentioned on the question, the one before the previous question, about the impact that leaves on us, not only the community. And some projects have a lasting impression, not only on those served, but only on those serving. Which project comes to your mind that was a success and made an impact on you and others as well?
That's an interesting one. I'll give you, after you, a few stories. First is, you see, I was a relatively privileged child. So I went to private schools at a period when that was not very, very available or popular. And I had come to the conclusion that there should be nobody my age in my country who should not be able to read and write. I had kept that opinion for a long time. And then my club had a literacy project to help people read and write. We actually called it Adult Literacy Project. So I was going to the project expecting to see some elderly people much older than me, who had no privilege of going to a school, and then would help them to read and write. But lo and behold, I got there, and I found people younger than me. Very beautiful women, good-looking guys in nice dresses, but who couldn't read and write. That to me was a grounder. It's like, wait a minute, am I a part of this community? And I suddenly realized, hey, I need to learn about this community more. That project, even though it changed the lives of the people because they could now read, they could write, and there were nice stories from them, including stories of a mother who said, you know, before now, when I go to the hospital and they give me prescriptions, I get home and I'm confused. I don't know which one is morning, day, and 3 times a day. I don't know which one is 2 times a day because I could not read. But now I can read. I know what to give my child at any point in time. That is a nice story on the side of the beneficiary. But you see, on my own side is, hey, if this is what we have in my community, what else can we do? And it makes me even to value the opportunities I had been given. That's one. The second one is a microcredit project my club did. It was a global grant. It was okay. When we did it was when we had matching grants. And when we first discussed at the club meeting about how we were going to implement this grant, you know, being Rotarians, we were relatively the higher end of the society, so to speak. And people were like, you see, if this grant is going to make sense, we will need to give people a minimum of what you may call, say, $1,000, you know. But we had $10,000. So if you're going to say, do a project with $10,000, that means we are going to be giving grants to startup grants to only 10 people. And then somebody said to us at the meeting, he said, look, you guys, I don't understand what is happening around you. And she encouraged us. She said, I want to ask you, all of you, as you get home today, go into your houses, park your cars, because you drive out of your car, you drive to your office or your business, and you come back. He said, park your cars and take a walk in your neighborhood. And take note of the kind of things people are doing for sustenance. I did that night, and I found out that there were people, you know, a woman just selling vegetables by the corner of the street. That is not a $1,000 project. You know, that's something like a $20, $50 kind of business. You know, you find somebody just selling groceries. That is not a $1,000 business. So many others. And it suddenly occurred to us that, wait a minute, if these people are not finding sustenance, they will not be present every day, selling the things that they are selling. And that again changed me, because now we could do more for more people with that little amount that we had. I never would have known that you could do a business with $100. But now I've learned that, and I'm a little bit more supportive when I see some of those things. So yes, it has an impact on the people. It has an impact on me. And of course, the last one is our polio eradication project. Nigeria was certified polio-free, I think, 2021. I've been part of the polio eradication project since I became a Rotaractor in 1985 when we started. But you see, when my club used to have a Christmas gathering every December with inmates, or shall I say residents of a home managed by some Christian missionaries. We normally will go there, take food, spend about an hour to play with the children and things like that. And most of the children in those homes were disabled, crippled, mostly by polio, But what happens is, as they become older, they leave the home when they need to go to college. So, but every year that we come, you meet younger children that have been brought by the parents to be cared for. But as my part of the country started becoming polio-free, I noticed that the number of children, younger children being brought in, were now reducing. And then it got to a time, the managers of the home had to repurpose it because they were no longer getting children crippled by polio. So sometimes we look at the polio immunization as drops, and we look at it from numbers. But for me, I could see the direct impact. Children were no longer getting crippled. It was something I experienced. It was something that told me that what Rotary was doing was correct. It was having an impact. The impact was lasting because families can now stay with their children. They were no longer getting crippled. It was profound for me. And if I can feel it in my little community, I'm asking myself, what if we're able to do this for the whole world? Just imagine it, that because of something small you is a part of, you will be eradicating a disease. It's not about, say, eradicate. I hope Rotarians understand what that means. Eradicate. It will be the second disease to be so eradicated. Isn't that a wonderful opportunity for us as Rotary? An opportunity our membership allows us to be part of.
Thank you so much. We have more questions, but I think we are running out of time. I want to thank you personally as a moderator for this session. It was an honor to moderate your session, President-elect Yinka. And I will have to give the floor back to DDG Faisal, the RLI District Chair, so that he can ask a few questions that are coming from the audience, because I want to be selfish, keeping you for my questions. We'll open floor for others. Thank you so much again on behalf of me and my team. Thank you so much.
And thank you. I like the logo, the little logo you have at the back of you. It says, tell your story. And that's what I'm encouraging Rotarians to do. Think of how Rotary has changed you, how your membership has changed you, and tell that story. When people ask you, this Rotary you go to every week, every 2 weeks, what exactly is it? Stop telling them about 1.2 million people, about Chicago, about blah, blah, blah. No, those are boring stories. Tell them, how has Rotary made a lasting change in you, in your life? And those stories will be more believable. They will naturally be compelling because they are true and they are yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your wisdom and time. Thank you so much. DDG Faisal?
Yes, thank you very much, Past President Farid. And of course, now I saw a question from Zain Al-Alami earlier. Her hand was up. So would she like to ask her question now?
Yes, Faisal, hi, how are you? I will put my camera on. And forgive me if I'm driving. It's okay with you? I'll put my lights on. I spend my life in the car. President, thank you so much for your inspiring speech, and very true, soul of you came and we have touched your experience, and it was very touching. From my experience in Rotary, I will tell you my own story, very brief, fast. I was working in Bahrain with Rotary Bahrain for like 7 years, and then moved to Lebanon. Now, lately, working with Lebanon, my country. Okay, and I was working in Bahrain as an expat. So now in Lebanon, we are facing a lot of challenges collecting grants because of the transferring money problem. So we couldn't collect from USA, we couldn't collect from Dubai, we couldn't collect from Bahrain. So I expired my relations with other Rotary clubs, trying to make a joint grant. Now, is there any, I don't know if there is a system that people will have a platform of Rotary International. They will transfer money to this Rotary International, and this Rotary International will transfer to the clubs, because we are not the only one. You know, as we are growing up and living these wars problems, we have political conflicts. We will keep on having these challenges around the world. Can you advise if there is something like this, or we can create it, or what do you think?
How do you want us to handle this? Do you want us to answer each question, or you want to put some questions together? I'm looking at Faisal now.
I think if you can ask, I think one by one
Okay.
would be fine. We have 2 questions after this, just to keep you in the loop.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Now, let me say this, that I am not very familiar with the particular situation you have described, but I will imagine that the leadership of Rotary in your district will be able to figure out or make a proposal as to how this could be addressed. And we can have conversations with our trustees to say this is a particular issue and how can we address it. Usually Rotary is adaptable, and Rotary will always find a solution one way or the other, you know. So, but as a particular issue, I am not very familiar with it, so I cannot offer on this platform a solution. But I would think if your leaders were to have a conversation around this, if this is a preponderant issue, you know, a conversation could be had with the trustee that may be from your area, you know, and then we'll find a solution to it.
Well, thank you for that.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you.
And now we have quite a few questions coming up. So I would like to remind everyone, keep your questions short and sweet, because to be fair to everyone else and to the time limit that we have. So the next question is from Rami. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you for your inspiring talks, President-elect. I would like to ask you about dual membership between Rotary and Rotaract. With this evolving framework for dual membership, what governance or cultural shifts that you foresee which will ensure a meaningful integration to preserve the identity of Rotaract, since I was a past Rotaractor, and to enhance Rotary integration of Rotaractors. From the year dual membership started, we were as clubs improvising on this matter. There is no set rules. There is generational gap, the integration process, the fees that we pay in our club and Rotaract. All of these issues are not clear. So how do you foresee this issue? And I have another question regarding the polio. you mentioned
can we
that
keep it to one question per person? Sorry, just one, because we have quite a few questions coming up.
Okay, just for polio, I mean, this is an endless project that started in 1884, and billions of dollars has been spent with a great impact, but it will never be eradicated. Till when Rotary International will keep doing this? Thank you.
Let me start from your last question. And I need you to believe polio will be eradicated. It will be eradicated. We have seen eradication in 3-4 continents. And when we started, there were 125 countries that were polio endemic. Today, we have just 2. And in those 2, it is also confined. It's in a limited area. We will finish the job. I can assure you that. And it will happen in your lifetime. You know, every day we get closer and closer. So the question is, will polio be eradicated? No, polio will be eradicated. So I need all of us to believe and give that last push that is required to make it happen. Everything we need to eradicate it, we have in place. All we need to do is to make sure that adults, we as adults, do the things that are required to protect our children. That is all that we need, you know. So, but polio will be eradicated. Everybody says that. Everybody who should know says that. You know, the health specialists, the funders, everybody says it's just, yes, we are in the last mile. The last mile is a little difficult, as usual with races, you know, but it will be done. So just keep alive. In fact, it's not hope. Hope is to say it may or it may not. I'm asking you to believe polio will be eradicated. Let me address the Rotaract one, and I could see Emil doing thumbs up because he's also a dual member. I'm a past Rotaractor myself, and there are, depending on where you are looking from and which cultures you come from, there were reasons why the opportunity for dual membership was put in place. In some part of the Rotary world, the Rotary family functions like the normal family. In a normal family, you have the grandparents, you have the parents, you have the children, and there's no problem. When the family comes together, there is no problem. The grandfathers know what their duties are, the parents know what their duties are, the children know what their duties are. There are 2-3 different generations, but we don't have problems within that family, you know? But in the Rotary family, it's a little different. Maybe it is because we do not acknowledge the fact that the Rotaractors, depending on, or our youth programs generally, that these are our children, and that we need to treat them the way we treat in families. Because you see, if you're a grandparent, in fact, you see some even in the family life, you see some of those differences. The things parents will not tolerate with their children, the grandparents will tolerate it. Because they've experienced it. They knew when you as a parent misbehaved. So they will tolerate it. And that provides some kind of a continuity in the family as it is. I think if you look at the Rotary family in the same way, some of the difficulties we face will disappear. So when Rotaractors, for example, or even interactors, behave in a way we don't like, just like your son may behave or your daughter may behave in a way you don't like, how do you react to it? Do you kick them out of the house? That's not what you do. So why do we expect Rotaractors to be different? Particularly when you look at the age bracket as it is. So that is one general concept I want us to put on it. The reason dual membership was put in place was to make it possible for Rotaractors to continue to enjoy whatever they enjoy, and give them the opportunity to be accepted by their older colleagues or more matured colleagues. If Rotary was welcoming to the young people, the way families are welcoming to their children that are growing up, we probably wouldn't need dual membership. People would just feel, I'm done with this, and they move to the other one. Just like you find a child say, look, I'm ready to get married, so I leave my home, I start my own home. But starting your own home doesn't make you no longer part of the family, So those transitions will happen. I think we as Rotary needs to be a little bit more welcoming. That's number one, so that Rotaractors can feel free and more comfortable working and joining us. The second thing I know that may be a problem for Rotaractors is that they are being forced to pay dues on both sides. I've looked at that from 2 points of view. So the dues on the Rotaract side isn't that much, but that is a fee they are paying for wanting to continue to enjoy something they probably should leave behind and go to something else. But at the Rotary end, do we have special considerations? And people sometimes say Rotary International. I say no, that is at the district and club level. I've seen districts that says, okay, if you're a Rotaractor and you're joining Rotary, the first 3 years of your membership, your district dues will be 50% of what Rotarians are paying. It's just the first 3 years. After that, they start to pay the right thing. I've seen clubs do the same. That if you're a past Rotaractor, you're joining our Rotary Club, you don't even pay any club dues for the first 3 years, as a way of making them to come in, and then they become part of what we want them to do. And it has worked. I've seen that worked many places. So because they weren't willing to pay for an experience they think they will not enjoy. But you've asked them, come and experience it for free. And then 1 year, 2 years, they say, oh, this is actually nicer than I thought. Christina is not as difficult as I thought she looks, when I look at her from far. District Governor Peter is not as tough as I think he is, because we've interacted with Peter closely. So it's actually a nice guy, he even cracks jokes, so they become relaxed. And so when you now have them to pay for that experience, they don't have a problem paying for it. So it's just a way of bringing them in. And it works differently in different places, So my take is, we as Rotarians should, like you would do when your child leaves home and you want your child to remain connected, how do you do it? Let's just do the same thing, so that they will not have a need to be paying at the Rotaract end what they could get in Rotary. I think that is, I don't know if that answers your question. It was too long an answer for a very short question.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, it was a wonderful answer. So we have, I believe, another 10 minutes because we started a little late. So we can take 3 more questions. We have them already raised. So the next question is from President-elect Abim. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much, Faisal. Mine is not actually a question. Mine is just to tell my story also. I mean, since you've challenged us here with your banner, which says tell your story. And I also want to tell my story because it's important for me to leave this testimonial here. Everyone here has talked so much about my Rotary International President-elect. I want to tell my own story of how he has impacted me. He may not know this, and it's important that I say this here. I met him for the first time. I'm just 2 years in Rotary. I've been a Rotaractor all my life, from my university days. And I met him for the first time at the RLI training, which I attended. And amongst all the facilitators there on that day, he stood out, I must say. Every word that came out of his mouth left a lasting impression in me. I didn't get the opportunity to tell him this, but as fate would have it, as I was stepping out, he noticed that I was a little disturbed. and he asked if everything was all right with me. And so I told him, oh yeah, I had to, because I stepped out of the class like twice, and I had to tell him, oh yes, I was making calls for so reason. And I used that opportunity to ask him a question on that day as regards my son. And the advice he gave me on that day meant a lot to me. And beyond the advice for my son, he also corrected me on a statement I made. I took that from a place of a father. I looked at him on that day and I said, this is beyond Rotary. He related like a family, he related like he knew me from way back, whilst that was just the first day I was meeting him. And so I want to say that beyond being a Rotarian, he's left a lasting impact in my own life with that, just that one meeting. When I heard the announcement of, his announcement as the RIPE, I immediately contacted some of the members, Rotarians that I knew in his club. And I said, you know what? Fortunately for me, I'm a president-elect. It's going to be in 2026, I'll be serving. I am here committing to lifting the banner, the lights, and everything Rotary International forward, just because this man has made an impact in my life. And so I'm here saying thank you, sir. I don't need to go into the details, but like every other person here has said, how you've touched their lives in several ways, in their clubs and in different ways. I'm also here saying thank you for that impact which you have made in my life. And together we would continue to lift the light and the banner of Rotary forward. Thank you. And thank you, Faisal, for bringing this to the fellowship, the lead fellowship, because I probably wouldn't have heard of this if you did not post it the lead fellowship.
That's
that's where I
interesting.
got this information and I registered for this program. So thanks a lot for sharing these as well. Thank you, sir.
And thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for sharing your story, and thank you for attending tonight.
And thank you, Rotarian Isafiade, for your stories. And you use the word beyond Rotary. And that is the part of us, what I said earlier, that we should tell our stories. What you said is actually not beyond Rotary. That is a benefit of Rotary membership. So when people ask you, what do you gain from this, your Rotary? That is a benefit of Rotary membership. The connections that we make, the opportunities we have to connect with people of diverse opinions, people of diverse nationalities. That is a benefit of membership. If you were not a Rotarian, we would not have met at that RLI event. So it is not beyond Rotary. It is actually what Rotary is. And that is the kind of thing I want us to share more with people. This is how my being a Rotarian has impacted me. And who knows, it may impact you in a similar way. And then they want to join us. I just wanted to say that thank you very much for your kind words, but that is the benefit of your membership.
Thank you very much. Now, I'll move on to the next question from Amir Mawad. Please take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Faisal. Hello, Olayinka.
Now, Emil is going to ask a very difficult question, I know now.
The thing is
short and sweet, please, Emil.
No, the thing is that most of the things I've already discussed with you in the past, but maybe if we can share with the people here, because in my opinion, this is something that is very important. I was going to ask something more related to youth, but since it was asked, I decided to go more to something related to communication and public image. Recently, and since I've been for a long time in the Rotary family, I am getting to know more and more how big the impact of Rotary is in the world. The thing is that Rotarians are not really 100% aware of how big the impact is that we've done all over the world. We talk about polio, definitely this we already know. We talk about the big numbers that the Rotary Foundation have done or have contributed in the past, but we've never, the Rotarians are not being able to communicate the real impact that Rotary have done in a specific country, in a specific region or district, or in the world itself. Do you believe there is a way to increase or maximize this communication in a way where we can share this impact that we've done from a public image perspective that can really share to the world what we've done, so that our organization can become more attractive to people we don't know. Thank you.
And thank you, Emil. I think you're correct. We need to, like I said, share the stories more. Rotary is beginning to provide a lot of information, and we are doing that in several formats, in podcast, on the social media, and everything like that. And for those who are Rotarians who are even very keen, and I think every Rotarian should be keen, we even have those things in our annual reports, talking about things we are doing, the impact it is making in different parts of the world. And that is in all our areas of focus. How we are impacting peace, for example, how we are impacting disease prevention, and all the areas of focus. And we have those statistics, let me put that word, those measurements, those metrics reported in our annual report. And the annual reports are available online also on the Rotary website. Just go in there, click the latest one, you will see information on it. But that said, what I even would like Rotarians to do is to tell those stories that they are part of. Most times when people will ask you about Rotary, they will probably ask you in your own environment. At that moment where somebody is asking you about Rotary, you are the Rotary the person is seeing. The person has no clue who your club president is, has no idea who your district governor is. I mean, your district governor is a nice guy, but he doesn't know who your district governor is. He doesn't know who the RLI president is. He does not know who your director is. He does not even know that Rotary hierarchy and organization. At that moment, you are the Rotary that the person can see. So when that person asks you about Rotary, tell him that your own story, because your story, the things that have impacted you came from your environment. It came from your involvement in your own environment most of the time. Even when you step out of your environment to do things that are impactful, you stepped out. So you can tell that story also. So it is your story. That is the story I want us to tell more. If every Rotarian, everywhere we have Rotarians around the world, are able to tell those compelling stories, then the issue of public image would disappear. It would disappear because we're doing a lot in our communities. You can imagine, let me give you one of the ones I know, Emil, with Lebanon, I mean, there's a story about how Rotary helped with some hospitals after that disaster that we had of that explosion and the rest. And I saw some of those images in I think People of Action campaign, the videos that we do, which we gave awards to not too long ago, Those stories are there. If a Lebanese is in front of you and asking you about Rotary, and you are telling him about that impact, he can see it, he can go check it out, he can find it out, and that is more impactful than telling him some story of something that happened in Haiti. Haiti is remote for the person, That is the one I would want us to talk more about, which currently we don't do enough of.
Great, thank you very much. We have one more question, if that's all right with you, from Florentina, and then we will give the floor to District Governor Peter for his remarks. Please unmute yourself, Florentina.
Well, yes, you can hear me well, right? Mr. President, thank you so much for your inspiring speech and for your being an inspiring leader. I'm Florentina from District 2485, Albania and Kosovo, the newest district. And Faisal, thank you for inviting to be part of this meeting. I would like more to know of your thoughts of which innovative approaches in Rotary service projects do you see as need to follow the trend, or do we need still to be more innovative in order for all the time to fill in the community needs? What are your thoughts on that?
Unfortunately, I missed some part of the question because it broke off a little bit. So I don't know if you can repeat it quickly.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And I still also can write in the chat. Which innovative approaches in Rotary service projects do you see as most impactful for communities in the coming years? What are your thoughts on that? Do we need innovation or not?
No, we need innovation all the time. All the time. In fact, I think it was Paul Harris, our founder, who many years ago used a word. He said, Rotary should be evolutionary sometimes, but Rotary needs to be revolutionary sometimes. So whether it is evolutionary or revolutionary, innovation is involved. We must continue to innovate. We must continue to adapt. You know, we do not, the solutions or the tools of 50 years ago will not help the world of today. So we need innovation. In fact, just yesterday at the Rotary headquarters here, there were conversations around artificial intelligence. You know, that is the way the world is going, and we're beginning to evaluate what does this mean for us? And what does this mean even for our service projects locally? What does this mean for member engagement? What does this mean for member attraction at the local level? That is available technology as of today. So yes, we must continue to innovate, no doubt about that.
Thank you very much. And of course, thank you, Florentina, for the question. I would like to ask a final remark from our District Governor, Peter.
Thank you, Faisal. Well, we've been really inspired today. And really thank you, RI President-elect. It was really touching, and actually by you mentioning what is impacting us reminded me all my 20 years of being a Rotaractor and then Rotarian, all the impact that all the projects, the friendship, the fellowship has to me. And this is so important what you have mentioned in all our workings in Rotary. I really appreciate you taking your time with us, and I acknowledge that you love Rotary so much that you are here with us for 1 hour speaking to us. And again, a big gratitude. Thank you to everyone who was here with us today. And I think we all live today being inspired, being ready to go forward and spread the beautiful meaning of Rotary, and thinking that next year we will have this passionate president and we will be holding the banner even from a new position next year. So thank you. Thank you so much for being with us in our district and giving us this beautiful talk.
And before we go, because this is the first virtual meeting I'm holding at our headquarters in Evanston. I know many Rotarians have not had the privilege of being here. So if you will give me a few minutes, let me just show you what this office looks like. And you can say you have seen it. And well, this is what the general office looks like. And at the other end is the office of the president. So this says the president-elect, and there is what you have, and that is some view of Evanston, and you can see the blue waters at the end. That is the Lake Michigan, you know. So the vice president sits there as it is. And yes, I want to encourage you, if you find yourself around in the US, please know that as a Rotarian, you can visit the headquarters. You will be received and you'll be taken through a tour of the building. It's an 18-floor building, and it's perhaps the most distinguished property in Evanston. So if you're in the Chicago area, if you're in the US and you can afford to just take a ride down, please take the opportunity. You will be well received. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
quite nice.
tour. That was lovely. You even gave us more things today than we expected.
Sorry, before we close, I would like to present you this virtual certificate. I think it's online. Yes, there it is. And so I would like to thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule, to impart with your time, your wisdom, your passion, your insights, your true impact of service have been incredibly inspiring and thought-provoking. Your words reignited our collective commitment to service and reminding that the power is in each of us as Rotarians. So on behalf of everyone here, we'd like to present you with this virtual certificate, which you'll get a copy of to your email. Or if you like, you can take a screenshot now. It's, either or. And as you prepare to step into your role as Rotary International President, we wish you all the very best. May your year ahead be filled with success, impactful projects, moments that truly shape the future of Rotary. We are excited to follow your journey and support you in every way we can. Thank you once again, and best of luck to a remarkable year ahead. I would like to also thank those behind the scenes, like District Secretary, Past President Samar Saab, and our dear friend Hala Ghassoub, as well as Past President Farid, who moderated the session. And of course, District Governor Peter and Vice Governor Christina. And since we're here, I can remind everyone or ask everyone to mark their calendar for the 10th of November for our next RLI session experience share.